In the previous class, we are discussing that the matter is made up of particles. In order to justify it, we have performed two activities. The first one is dissolving solid into liquid. How to prove it? Dissolving solid into liquid. What we do? We take one crystal of potassium permanganate and take a beaker of water. In that beaker of water, when we place one piece of potassium permanganate, what we see here, after dissolving one piece of potassium permanganate into a beaker of water, the total water turns purple. Why it is so? It is so because this one piece of potassium permanganate is constituted of various smaller particles, and on dissolution it is broken down into its constituent particles and then dispersed into solution. To the next, we take another beaker and take some sample of this solution and pour into another solution. What we see the next solution also turns purple. Why it is so? Because the particle which is produced as a result of breaking down of this potassium permanganate particle, it is further broken down into a smaller particle. Like take another beaker having water, take some sample of this water and pour it into the another beaker containing water. What we see on successive addition of this sample into water, it turns purple. Why it is so? Because the particle produced from the broken down of this particle, it is further broken down into smaller particles. What we see by this activity, we can say that this crystal, which is a matter, this crystal of potassium permanganate is constituted of various very small particles. This can also be understood by doing another activity which we have performed in the previous class. What is that one? To the next one, we will discuss mixing of gases. We will take two cylindrical jars. In the one, we take air, and in another, we take the bromine gas. We know the color of bromine gas is reddish brown. Reddish brown. We have choose a color gas. Why? Because we will know its presence. It means we have choose bromine gas because it has reddish brown color, and by the color we can know its presence. To the next one, what we do? We add up the both container and partition is broken down. And when the partition is broken down, then this reddish, what we see, the whole container turns reddish brown. Why it is so? What happened? Let us discuss one. We take red bromine gas in one container and another air into another container. On joining their mouth and wetting the partition, what we see, the whole container turns reddish brown. Why it is so? It is so because here in the first container, let us name it container A, container B, container A, container B. When we join the container, the reddish brown gas, bromine gas from container B moves to container A, and the colorless gas from A moves to B. This is so because the particles are very small and they diffuse from their higher concentration toward, they diffuse, what they do, they move from their higher concentration to lower concentration. It means by these observations, what we got? We got the first one. We conclude that the first one, matter is made up of very small particles. So the next one, they are in random motion. What we conclude from this activity? That they are made up of very, very small particle. And the next one, they are made up of very, very small particle. And the next one, they are in random motion. Clear? It means by two activity, we conclude that the matter is made up of very, very small particle and they are in random motion. Clear? The best evidence for the movement of particles was given by Robert Brown in 1827. Let us discuss. What we will discuss? Movement of polyethylene in water. It was first observed by Robert Brown in 1827. In 1827, Robert Brown observed the movement of polyethylene in what it means. In 1837, Robert Brown first observed the movement of pollen grain. You know pollen grain? It means it is produced from the anther of a flower. It is too small. Then Robert Brown observed the movement of pollen grain in water. What he observed? He saw a pollen grain inside the water by the help of microscope. What he observed? He observed that the pollen grain in water, has random motion. What is that one? Let us discuss. He observed that the pollen grain is in random motion. How you observe? Because we can't see the water molecule, we are not able to view it, but we can see the pollen grain in the water. Because water molecules are very, very tiny. He observed that the pollen grain inside the water is in random motion. Why this is so? He concludes that this is so because the water in which the pollen grain was in random motion. And when this pollen grain collide with the water molecule, then it has also random motion. It means what we observe? This path of the pollen grain is termed as zigzag path. First one, the pollen grain moves on zigzag path. It means the path is not defined. It can move in any path. What is so? The next one. This is so. This is so because the pollen grain collide with the water molecule. This is so because the pollen grain collide with the water molecule, which is in random motion. Clear? And the movement of the particle on a zigzag path is termed as, he named it as Brownian motion. Next, the movement of path, the movement of pollen grain on zigzag is known as Brownian motion. Clear? To the next, we increase the temperature of the water. On increasing the temperature of water, the collision of pollen grain becomes. To the next, we know that when we increase the temperature, then the movement of pollen grain becomes faster. The next one, on increasing temperature, the movement of pollen grain becomes faster. What we have studied? We have studied that in 1827, Robert Brown observed the movement of pollen grain in water. What he observed? He observed that the pollen grain moves on a zigzag path. Zigzag path, it means it is also known as random path. It moves on a random path. Why it is so? This is so. How he explained this phenomena? He explained that we can't see the water molecule inside a beaker or a container because they are very, very small. But we can observe the microscope, we can observe the pollen grain with the help of microscope. We observe that the path of the pollen grain inside the water is random, that is, he termed it as zigzag path. Why it is so? Why the pollen grain is moving on a zigzag path? This is so because it collides with the water molecule, which is in random motion. When it collides, then that's why it has zigzag path. To the next, he named the motion of the pollen grain in the water, he named it as Brownian motion. To the next, in warmer water, he observed that the motion of pollen grain is faster. By taking another example, if we have a hole in our room and when light comes in the form of cone, then we can see the dust particle in that light, that conical light. What we observe? We observe that the dust particles are in random motion. In this way, we understand what is the movement of, what is zigzag path. By this observation, what we conclude? we conclude that the first one, matter is made up of particle. Matter is made up of particles. And the next one, they are in constant motion. Clear. The next, let us discuss the characteristic of particle nature of matter. Characteristic of particle nature of matter. What are these? What we conclude? The first one, matter, the particles of the matter is very, very small. The next one, the particles of the matter is very, very small. They have inter-particle space. To the next, they are in random motion. To the next, the particles of the matter attract each other. Let us discuss the characteristic of particle nature of matter one by one. So the first one we will discuss the particles. The first one, the particles, this one, particles of the matter is very, very small. Let us understand this by taking an example. How we can conclude that the particles of the matter are very, very small. We have already performed two activities to justify this statement. Let us perform one more activity. We have performed, in order to justify it that the particles of the matter is very, very small, we can justify it with the previous experiment or the activity which we have performed. In order to justify it, we will take a crystal of potassium permanganate and then dissolving in water, the whole the solution turned purple. This is so because that crystal of potassium permanganate, it constitutes of very small particles which on dissolution splits into its constituent particle and disperse throughout the solution. That's why the solution turns purple. So on successive addition of the particle from this solution, it also turns purple. This is so because that smaller particle which is produced by the broken down of the previous particle is also broken down into various smaller particles. In this way, we can justify that the matter is made up of small, that the particles of the matter is very, very small. To the next, we will discuss the next one. They have inter-particle space. They have, or the particles of the matter have spaces between them. They have intervenes between two particles. Inter-particle space. In order to justify it, let us perform an activity. We will take a beaker and then fill it with water. After filling it, we will mark the level of the water in the container. After marking the level, we will take 1 teaspoon of sugar. We will take 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then add in this water. What we observe on addition of this sugar into this water, what we observe? We observe that the level remains same. It means there is not increase in the level of the water. Why it is so? Then where the sugar goes, which we have added, let us know it first. We will take water in a beaker, we will mark the level and then add 1 teaspoon of sugar. On adding it, we observe that there is not increase in the level of water. Why it is so? Where the sugar goes, which we have added, why there is not increase in the level? This is so because as we see at the molecular level, what we observe. See here. Let us see here the molecular level. We see the water. We see here the particles of the water. On addition of sugar, there is not increase in the level of the water. This is so because the sugar which we have added, they accommodate the interparticle space of the water molecules. If they accommodate the interparticle space, then there will not increase in the level of water. This says that the matter have interparticle space. Clear? To the next. In order to justify that the particles of the matter are in random motion, we take the first one example. When we